Hey everyone, today I wanted to do a quick interview question from Cracking the Coding Interview, and this is actually the first question from the string section of the book. And the interview question is, implement an algorithm to determine if a string has all unique characters. And you're probably thinking right off the bat, this is pretty easy, you just use a set and you check, and you would be right, it is pretty easy. So the only thing I want to do is go through this slowly though, and come up with examples that we're going to pass into the algorithm here. And I have one that'll pass, one that'll fail because it has duplicates. We've got a ABC, and then you start seeing you've got a BCA here, so that should fail. You've got a 2 and a 2 here, so that should fail. And then again, you also have another one down here that should fail, but it only has one duplicate, this H here. And finally, there's another question. If you have kind of an invalid input, it's an empty string. Technically, it does have unique characters because it has no characters. So you should probably consider scenarios like this, because your interview might ask you scenarios like that too. But what I've done here is I've just come up with some upfront examples that we're going to pass into the algorithm, and that's going to help us think about how to solve it. So the next thing we probably want to do is come up with a method signature. Because I'm in a public static method, I'm just going to say public static boolean, because it's going to be pass or fail, and we're going to say has unique cars, and it'll take the input of a string to test. And this will be our method signature for what we're going to test. And right away, I'm just going to print out the output of this has unique cars, and we're going to say test. And then we'll do the same thing here, test 2. So this is kind of like our harness for testing this algorithm. And we have the method signature, we have examples, and now we can probably start coding. So again, you're probably thinking this is very straightforward, we're just going to use a set, and I would agree with you. So let's make a set. We'll say set of characters, new hash set, and I'm going to make a loop. We'll have it be a car array, and we'll say to test dot to car array, and just have it pass the array in here. And we'll say set dot contains C. So what we're going to say is if set dot contains C, return false. Right? Otherwise, we're just going to say set.add C. And then we're going to return true. So why does this work? What's going to happen is I say toTest.toCar array. It'll return an array of all the characters in the string, and every time we go through this set, or every time we go through this car, we're going to say, does it contain this car already? Now, if it does contain the character already, we're going to immediately return false because we know that'll fail. If it doesn't, we're going to add it to the set. And what will happen is the next time we see that character, it'll do this test up front, and then it'll fail if it has that. Otherwise, if we get all the way through it, it'll return true. So you can think about the time complexity of this as the worst case scenario, and probably if it's unique, it'll be the normal case scenario, right? It'll be linear with respect to the number of characters in the string, because we're going to have to touch each character in the string. And if you think about this in terms of best case scenario, you do pretty much have to touch each character in the string. So this is probably about as good as we can get, because you are at some point going to have to touch each character in the string once to test if you've seen it. But this is also not that bad. I mean, it's linear with respect to the characters. So let's go ahead and run this, and I'm just going to run it as a Java application. And you're going to see it did pretty much what we expected. This should pass and this should fail. So we had a pass and we had a fail. Let's go ahead and test the others. Okay, and we're going to run that. And interestingly, the last one passed. The question you have to ask yourself and the interviewer is, should an empty string pass? Now, if you just took the algorithm at face value, you'd say yes, but your interview might ask you to test for invalid inputs, and probably what would happen if you do a null. So let's probably a null would be a failure, right? Because it'd probably crash your program. So you can see, yeah, you got a null pointer exception with a null here. So this is just going through the first question and cracking the coding interview. Implement an algorithm to determine if a string has all unique characters. I'll post the link to this code in the video. Thanks for watching.